Boruto's anime return when? It's looking more probable that we're going to be waiting a while for the Boruto anime return. Will it be 10 years like the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War? No. I think the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, it'll probably be a specialized case, an isolated case. And if I'm wrong about it, hey, I'm wrong. But I don't think we'll ever see, for the most part, situations like that happen again with giant mainstream, you know, bloated popularity titles again. Because Bleach, even though Bleach kind of had, like, you know, a little bit of a fall off after Aizen was defeated or whatnot, and the Fullbring arc or whatnot, like, even though Bleach fell off or whatnot at that particular point in terms of it wasn't, you know, no more as hyped as it was during Aizen for that period of time, Bleach was still a you know, massive success. 100 million sold. How can you deny it? You know what I mean?
Still moving on, still moving on. This is for my day ones. This is for my day ones. Come on.
The problem with Bleach, why it took so long, not just even because, you know, we could say that, well, the pandemic threw things off. It would have been back 8 years instead of 10 years, something like that. That's ridiculous. At the end of the day, it shouldn't have been more than a few years. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were screaming up and down about Attack on Titan taking 4 years between seasons 1 and 2 or whatnot. The circumstances is that, for starters, when Bleach anime ended, I don't think there was really much hope for, like, well, how do we get it to the point of whenever we do bring it back, people really caring, if when we left it off, people were losing interest very quickly. So that was probably a question mark that had a lot of people, well, how do you know, what are we going to do with this thing? It's like huge. It sold a lot back in the day, but people aren't as invested into it as they were, you know, early on, or even, you know, a few arcs ago with all the eyes and stuff or whatnot. Between letting the fandom build up and also the transition from how anime was consumed beforehand to where it's at right now, I think, again, when it ended, there wasn't really any hopes, because it was like, well, all you have is linear cable TV and TV in general in order to bring this thing back. I think the internet coming when it did is what, it might have even been a longer wait, is what I'm trying to say. I think if it wasn't for the internet incoming and the switch from everybody just watching anime via cable or, you know, renting a VHS tape or whatnot, we would have waited longer. I think the internet sped it up. And so now that the internet already exists, there's next to no reason other than waiting for a little bit of a hype build for a popular anime at the level of Bleach to take that long to return. And Boruto, despite the fact that people aren't as invested in Boruto as they was in Naruto, because we already know this, we don't need to go into that. Boruto just isn't as beloved as Naruto. It still has the backing of Naruto. It still has some of the characters from the same universe as Naruto. And ultimately, when Boruto, you always see the proof that there's interest, that whenever something big happens, it trends all over the place and people keep talking about it. So for better or worse, Boruto is still vastly popular. And on top of that, there's a reason why they can get to almost 300 episodes with Boruto Part 1, because there gotta be some damn interest, or at the very least the interest that is there, or that was there for the Boruto anime, was interest that was monetary wise, like, feasible. Like, I've said, I had a theory that the audience that supported Boruto were, like, probably wealthy children with, you know, the big bucks to go buy the cards, to go buy the Boruto pajamas or whatever the case may be or whatnot in Japan. And so that's probably what allowed it to go the distance, because there's no way in hell you make that bad of an investment, you know, almost 300 episodes or something, if nobody cared since, you know, its inception, damn near. There's no way you get to that point of 300. It just doesn't, unless they're like willy-nilly, like, yo, let's just throw millions and millions of dollars in the garbage. That's not happening. But Boruto, I don't think it's going to be coming back that soon, but it's not going to be that long. I say all that to say that it won't be, I don't think personally at all, any stretch of the imagination, it'll take 10 years for the Boruto anime to return, because it's not in the same boat as Bleach. It's not in the boat of it only has cable TV. Fandoms, you know, is unsure what's happening with anime. Like, also, when Bleach ended the anime back in 2012, the anime industry was still uncertain of the future of anime. Like I said, the internet was on the horizon, but it didn't. 2012 still wasn't like the year where everything was really popping off. Crunchyroll still wasn't as big as it obviously is right now. A lot of these things wasn't in place, where now you bring back Boruto whenever you bring it back, and there's a million avenues. There's a million ways to get money from it. You know, you bring back, let's just say you bring Boruto back in another year and some change, you make it seasonal, like a 12 episode, 24 episode type of deal, and you put it on Hulu or Netflix or any of these places, that's big money. So the return is going to be, or the revenue that they're going to generate from that is going to be big. And at the same time, Boruto already has a fan base that just kind of needs to be reminded, and at the same time there's a Naruto backing. And let's not forget that the Boruto anime ended off with something very big that Bleach didn't. When Bleach ended back in 2012 after the Fullbring arc, it ended and it was just kind of like, oh damn, it's probably not coming back, which is hence why many people started saying Bleach is dead, because it was. I hate to break it to you, Bleach was dead. I don't know, maybe Bleach is like Jesus, dog, and it resurrected itself, but Bleach was definitely dead, and 99.9% of people thought it was never gonna return because that's what the optics look like. I don't know if Bleach is maybe like religion to some people, and they were like, no, the Messiah will resurrect someday, we know it, but the mother was dead. So I say all that to say that Bleach didn't end with a to be continued or yo, it's coming back, we promise. It just ended, you know, with Ichigo looking into the sky, kind of giving it that like it feels like it's over, while Boruto literally ends with a message, yo, it's coming back. And they're not going to give you a message of yo, it's coming back if it's going to take 10 years. I don't even think it's going to take 5 years. I think Boruto anime realistically returns no sooner than January of 2025. I know you're probably thinking like, whoa, I thought you were going to say January 2025. I think it returns. The state that it returns in is going to be a very pivotal factor on what happens with it moving forward. If it returns to the same exact, like the old weekly grind, if it returns and it's just going to act like, yeah, we ain't changing shit, we still doing an episode every week, we're gonna have fillers, we're gonna have Team 88 doing a whole bunch of dumb shit looking for cats and stuff like that, then yeah, that's where they're gonna go and whatnot, and a lot of people are gonna be disappointed. But nevertheless, I don't think it returns any later or any sooner than January 2025, because remember, one of the many reasons why Boruto went off air was the fact that we was cutting it real close, and it's like, yo, are we gonna add a whole buttload more of fillers, or are we just gonna end this shit for right now, give them a message telling them no, it's definitely coming back? And so with that message, you gotta think like, well, they're not going to put that message out to make people wait a whole million years. And ultimately, again, you got to look at the fact that it ended so close that we need a little bit more time to build up material for what would be ideal, a seasonal drop. Like, another year of Boruto manga going is more than enough content for this thing to return, because at this point, Boruto episode 293 adapts chapter 67 of the manga. Chapter 68, so there was 80 chapters of Boruto. If chapter 68 through 80, that's 12. We literally only have 15 chapters of Boruto right now that haven't been adapted in the anime. Which, don't get me wrong, those are monthly chapters, but add another 12 chapters, now we have 27. Now we're cooking. So I might even be wrong. It might even take a little bit longer than that, just to make sure that we have enough material to adapt something, you know, have a decent amount of an adaptation. So it can get as far as like fall of 2025. Maybe that's as far as it could go. I'm gonna say if it's gonna return with a big seasonal burst, it could be fall of 2025. If it's coming back with filler and all that, then realistically it can return at the end of next year or early 2025. Like, no problem, because yeah, adapt a little square and throw a whole bunch more filler. So realistically, the return 110% depends actually on if they're going to do filler or seasonal. Because if they're going to do filler, then you don't really got to worry too much about having a whole bunch of material. I think it's going to defeat the purpose, because again, one of the reasons why I went off air wasn't it to make sure we have a nice runway of content. We're running out of content or whatnot. We don't want to keep on adding filler. Coming back with filler would be useless. I mean, they could also do, I guess, a whole filler chunk of what happened in between the time skip. There's literally endless amounts of filler that they could do. Now that I think about it, oh my god, I wonder if that's what they would do as far as like coming back with filler. Hey, there's a ton of stories that can be told of Boruto and Sasuke together training or whatnot. They could have a whole bunch of fillers that take place during that part. That part is interesting. I think a lot of us, if it's dope filler, interesting filler, seeing Boruto and Sasuke traveling together in original stories may be good. But there's the flip side to that, because they're not only going to utilize just Boruto and Sasuke, they're going to show what Chocho is doing during the time skip. They're going to show what Inojin is doing during the time skip. They're going to show Sarada, that might be interesting. Himawari might be interesting in an episode or two, but definitely all those like irrelevant ass teams, Team 15, all of those teams that we don't care about. Iwabe and Denki, get them out of here. Bro, if Kishimoto said that the real cast can be killed off and shit like that, then please can we kill off the filler cast? Get Iwabe and Denki out of here. They don't even belong here. They're filler. I'll put the timeline like this. If Boruto is returning with filler, we can see it easily by January of 2025. Definitely, no question, it could come back. There will be about like, what, 27 to 29 chapters by then of the manga. If it's going to come back as a seasonal drop, realistically, later in 2025 would be the earliest, probably fall. By then, there'll be well over 30-something chapters, well over enough content to make a full-blown season. The ball is in Piero's court on, do you want to come back with the filler, or do you want to come back and give a bang for your buck? Because Boruto returning on a seasonal tip, like, just imagine all the stuff that happened in Boruto if it was seasonal. The Kara arc, the Boruto versus Boro, Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen, if all of that stuff was released seasonally and people could easily keep up with Boruto after Naruto and whatnot, it would have been a different ballgame. All of that would have been trending, and it did trend, but it would have trended and attract fans. It's too hard in 2023 to attract fans when most people are being conditioned and reminded over and over again and told over and over again that people don't have the longest attention spans, even though that's bull. It's the same way people say that they don't care, nobody cares about lyrics anymore, and Kendrick Lamar's most lyrical, or one of his most lyrical albums, is one of the long-standing Billboard 200 albums on the charts, period, or something like that. It's hogwash. People's attention span is just fine. They're trying to mold people's attention spans, but there's plenty of people whose attention spans are just fine. It's just baloney. I'm okay with waiting more for the Boruto anime return. I'm okay with going until fall of 2025 for the Boruto anime to return. Don't get me wrong, I do want it back, but I don't want back a whole bunch of filler, because that's what's going to come along with a quick return. Like, there's a lot of people that are probably thinking Boruto is going to return. Out of 293 episodes of Boruto, how much of that filler was actually even worthwhile? The Kara activation filler with Deepa, that was fire. Some of those little one-off episodes, Sasuke trying to establish a relationship with his daughter Sarada, that was alright. Naruto and Himawari, father-daughter day, those were cool. There was some decent filler. The time travel arc, I don't give a what anybody says, that was some of the best filler that it had. Anime original specials, whatever you want to call it. Boruto and Sasuke going back in time, I love that. That was great. Canon content, Boruto would be 100% in a better state and better loved and all of that jazz if off rip it was seasonal. Like, if Boruto didn't have all that filler, because that's the problem with Boruto right now, is that people constantly point the finger at the anime, because there was more Naruto anime fans than there were manga fans. They don't realize that all of the problems that they have with the anime is not in the manga. But I think a lot of those people, again, they may have been, because a lot of people forget that a lot of Naruto fans were not anime and manga fans. The same way there's a lot of Dragon Ball Z fans, and I would say most Dragon Ball Z fans in the West are not anime and manga fans. They're Dragon Ball Z fans. They're Naruto fans. They don't have any frames of reference. They're not into anime at all. It's all about that one property. And on top of that, they don't even dive into sometimes the source material and whatnot of the manga. So Boruto fans might literally just be there for the anime, don't really care about the manga because they were only there for the Naruto anime. They didn't care for the manga. So they don't even know that, bro, the Boruto manga is so good. Announcing at the 2024 Jump Festa would be good. That's perfect. That's perfect. Announce it with a trailer. Usually when they announce at Jump Festa, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away. Announce it then. Summertime, you start dropping more official trailers. Like, you drop trailers along the way, little sneak peeks, PVs. Summertime, you drop like a big trailer. Fall time, returns, boom. I know some people don't want to hear this. I think even waiting towards January 2026 would be even better. I don't think Piero's going to wait that long, especially considering that they had that message at the end of Boruto Part 1, trying to keep people like, don't go nowhere, we'll be back, we promise. And they probably want to come back sooner than later. But even January of 2026 would be optimal, if I'm being honest.
Thought it would have been, wish it would have been. Acting like I'm fine is getting harder to pretend. I said, thought you would have been, wish you would have been. Maybe I was wrong, it was me all along.